WU7N. Good evening, Ron, WU7N.
Good evening, Jim. KD72KU.
Could either of you see me and 7QO?
Jim, I'm not seeing you. I see Gary now.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 repeater. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7YM. So far this evening, we have checked in WU7N, James, KD72KU, Ron, N7QO, Jim, K7HYB, and I'm seeing Lee Bond, M7KC, checked in through Ron. Is there anybody else that would like to check in this evening?
Kilo India 7, Lima India Foxtrot, James and Everett, regular check-in, but in and out.
Okay, James, we've got you. Thanks for checking in. And let's start the net off. Let's go up to WU7N.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is James, WU7N. My goodness, the temperature has dropped a little bit here in my section of Northeast Bellevue. I'm showing about 34 degrees out right now. But I guess that's not nearly as cold as the Midwest. I guess Chicago's going to set a new record here with 27 degrees below zero. And I have to actually think about how many Fahrenheit degrees below the freezing point of water that is. I was seeing today that for some odd reason they're setting fire tracks on fire intentionally, and that does something that allows them to bolt them back down or weld them into position again. I don't know. Maybe Lee would have some comment on why you set fire tracks on fire. I noticed in the overhead pictures it looked like they were setting the portions of the tracks on fire. It looked to me like there were switches right there. I was wondering if it had something to do with the fact that they were the switching areas of the rail line. Anyway, that's it for me this time around. This is James WW7ATS back to net control on Echolink. And receiving on video, right now I'm seeing it static.
Connected N7KC.
WU7N James, thanks with that. Let's go on to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, good evening, Dave. This is KD7QKU. I think Jim and James and Gary and Lee and, of course, myself. Oh, and then James over in Everett. Gee, Merry Christmas, James. I don't know what you're using over there, KI7LIF, but, man, you put out a strong signal. You were blowing my socks off over here in Bellevue. I had to turn the volume up. No, I agree with you, James, W7N. One of the pictures was switches, and I think what happens is the switches freeze up, and they can't make them work, so they have to kind of keep warmed up. And then it seems like I was reading that sometimes the rails actually break, maybe the bolts or something in them, I don't know, but apparently they do that. I don't know if you watched the program, I think it's Trains or something. They're up in Alaska, and they're always running these trains through the snowstorms and everything. Well, they have to do the same thing, except they do it, manually with propane torches. They go out and melt the switches so that they can get some of the equipment and stuff off on a side track so that the main trains can go through, because the switches freeze up there. They don't have them. Looked to me like that was plumbed in gas, and they can light it whenever they want it or something. I don't know. But it was interesting, wasn't it? Let's see what else was going on. I have 42 degrees here, James, so it's not as cold as my house. But we had a little bit of frost this morning. So, Lee, are you ready? And we'll go over to Lee and see what he has.
Okay, here's Lee in 7KC, way out in along the strait in Port Angeles. Well, good evening, everybody. I heard Dave call off the list, and I was still fussing around here. So I know I heard James, and I don't know. I know Dave's there. Sorry, don't know about Gary. Ron, I've been talking to him. So, anyway, very good. Well, 142 here as well. I was astonished to hear that you were that cold, James. My goodness. What's going on? And the thing about this cold is, before it slips my mind, which it will if I don't address this, the only pictures I saw, the only sections of track on fire were the switches. And that made plenty good sense to me. But the coefficient of linear expansion for steel is moderately high. And when they have welded rails, you know how they thermite weld the rails together so they're continuous? Sometimes they have quite a problem when it gets really hot. Those kind of things can... that standard distance between the rails can get changed. when they're too cold, I would assume that there's some provision for them shortening up somehow. But given the fact they can move quite a bit, they have to be able to slide. I don't know whether they spike them down the way they used to or not, but somehow they got to be able to move a little bit. Anyway. Enough of that. Well, next time around, my little project here was I've been cleaning all my microscopes. I had to fix a broken one, so I'll show you what I did next time around. So I'm down to 15 seconds. This is N7KC in Port Angeles. I'm going to send it back to Dave. Thank you.
N7KC, thank you with that. And thanks for Ron, KD7QKU, for putting you on the air. Who is checked in for lead? We've got WU7N, James, KD7QKU, Ron, N7QO, Jim, K7HYB, Gary, and myself, KD7ZYN. So let's go on to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, good evening, Dave, Bellevue Jim, Ron, Lee, Gary, and Everett James. Bellevue Jim, thanks for getting back and mentioning that you cannot see me. I can see some distortion in the stream, but I can't make any picture out of that. I can see an image of myself over the 1.2. It's rather weak, but it's there. And if I hold up my official IDer here, I can read that. If anyone else can see me over the 1.2, say something. And let's see. Dave, I was curious if you got your antenna twisted around since the last windstorm. Just curious on that. We'd like to see your picture sometime soon. See your smiling face again. I can't speak intelligently about the burning railroad tracks, but I know that colder temperatures can certainly wreak havoc on the spacing. And here at my place in Covington, I'm showing 42 degrees right now. Doesn't feel too bad outside. The ground is a little damp. I didn't notice it raining out there or anything, but it was a little damp on the walk between the house and the shack. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO, it's KD7ZYM, and Jim, I did see a little bit of your image coming across on 434 from the site with the streaming video. So it was not showing up on the 1.2 gig over the air. So with that, let's see if we can wake up Gary, K7HYB.
KD7ZYM and the group K7HYB. Good evening all. And yeah, I see nothing. I'm not even getting sync bars tonight on the live side. The output for the repeater. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I'm not surprised. Let me get the wide shot here and take the glasses off. There we go. Okay. Anyway, good evening all, and the signal is coming in very well. I'm surprised. Looking at the streaming side on the coming off the internet is really coming in very well, and it's streaming very fast. I am surprised. Bob and Rod must have really put some juice in the streaming up there. Man, that's pretty good. Now if I go just see something, and kind of unusual, I generally just at least see sync bars on the output side, but I'm not seeing any of that tonight. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Anyway, that's quite a steal, and I agree with pretty much everybody else that yeah, that's probably what they're doing. They're melting snow and trying to get the swishing working so they can do the rail cars. Let me try the mug shot here and see what that looks like on the screen. And I'm assuming, I haven't checked my weather station here, but I'm assuming that it's probably going to be pretty much the same as what everybody else was reporting, about 42 degrees. And I haven't really paid attention to let me drop it here. I haven't really paid attention to what the weather forecast is going to be for tonight. But anyhow, it's good to hear everybody, and I'm glad we're all checking in, and good deal. I'm looking forward to going down to Pillup this year. I'm not sure I'm going to have any way to buy anything, but business gets really good pretty quick. But look forward. It doesn't keep me from going down and shopping. Anyway, enough for my go around. Back to you, Dave, and welcome back. It's good to hear you. KD7ZYM, K7HYB.
K9PQ.
K9PQ. Bob, go ahead.
Okay, well, I don't have the video hooked up yet, and I literally just turned on the radio, heard the very tail end of Gary. So hello to everyone that's on the net. And yeah, it was a late working day today. Just got home, and so I'll get things ready, and next go around I'll have some video. Back to you, Dave. K9PQ.
K9PQ, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Well, here in Lake City, I've got 43 degrees. I must have the hot spot. Anyway, hopefully it will stay steady tonight and go down. This morning when I woke up, it was 32 degrees outside, so it was, that's what the thermometer was saying. So that was kind of a surprise that it had gone down that low last night. Well, as far as getting my antennas back up in shape, I'm still having a little bit of this vertigo thing happening with balance, and then I've got a sprained wrist that's still plaguing me a little bit, so as soon as that stuff gets a little bit under control, I'm sure I can get up there to move the antenna around. I just didn't want to be up on a ladder being a little bit on the dizzy side and then have my wrist and my right hand give out while I'm holding on to some rungs on a ladder. But that will happen soon. So let's see. As far as news goes around, we've got a meeting coming up this Saturday at Bob. Looking forward to seeing everybody there for the meeting. And a few things to talk about at the meeting. One, we're going to have another party come join us at our shack up on Cougar Mountain. DRM is coming in with a radio spot somewhere on a rack up there, not ours, but one of the racks on the link, and hopefully DRM is a digital format that has trunking and some other advantages to it, where you can kind of talk to your peers, you can set up different talk groups, and it's all digital. So that's probably going to be coming in the next 2 or 3 months up to the site. It's going to be good to see that when that happens. And it's nice to have a group that we can share our facilities up on the hill. So that's kind of nice. And that's about all I've got here. So let's go up to James, WU7ATS.
I reset my electronic thermometer. Now it says it's 42, which is more in line with everyone else. And if it's on the internet, it must be true. My weather channel says it's about 43 degrees in downtown Bellevue. It's only expected to get down to a low of 35 about 4 a.m. this morning. So that's going to be more reliable than sticking my head out the window. But so anyway, it's amazing what a reset will do. I thought that was a bit odd, although it does feel a little chilly. It didn't feel quite that cold. But again, it's hard for me to imagine 27 degrees below zero. That is really cold. That's cold enough that I think if there was even a slight breeze, your skin could get damaged if it was just exposed to that for any length of time. So anyway, Dave, you kind of cut in and out on the most important things that you said. I heard there was a DRM channel or something going in up at Cougar Mountain, but didn't hear anything else other than that, at least not on Echo Link. Maybe everyone else heard it just fine. If so, no need to repeat just for me. I won't make the Saturday meeting. I will probably be working. So I'll send regards in advance here on that. So anyway, that's it for me this round. This is James, WW7N, back to net control.
WW7N, James, yes, the DRM repeater is probably about 2 to 3 months out for installation. And let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, this is Ron, KD7QKU. Well, I was showing some video. I started showing video when Dave started talking. And then I think I left, it was when Dave started talking, I think. It was of Lake Washington. It was Coulon Park down by Renton. I can't remember if I played that video before or not, but one nice day we went down there. They have a nice walkway that goes around a pond in a kind of a rectangle. You can walk around, and they have ivers and stuff down there. I still have 41 degrees here now. So let's see what else. Something else I was going to say. I don't know. Well, Lee, are you ready? Okay, let's go over to Lee, and he can show us some of his pictures.
Okay, Lee here in Port Angeles, in Southern KC. Good evening, Bob, and good evening, Gary. Well, I just looked up the thermal expansion coefficient for steel, and it's 7.2 times 10 to the minus 6 inches per degree Fahrenheit. So it turns out that 1 mile of railroad track will change 0.46 inches per degree. so if you figure the number of degrees difference and so forth, it's a considerable expansion in a mile, or contraction actually. Okay, let me see. I guess Ron's got me up there on my gosh, it's a pretty good picture. Well, I'm kind of a microscope collector. I've been a kind of a microscopy fellow ever since I was about 10 years old when I got my first microscope. It was an old Gilbert microscope set that I got, and it was frankly a piece of junk, but it's all I had. Well, anyway, so I've got 4 or 5 nice microscopes. This is a Nikon SKT, model SKT. It's called the Black Nikon. It was made in the 50s, something like that. I believe it was around 1950 in that area. Well, anyway, so I've had this for a number of years, and the fine focus, which I've got my hand on here and I'm turning, it's not come up on the screen yet. Looks like it's about to. Well, anyway, there's a planetary gear in here. So you have the close focus on these, which moves the stage up and down. And then you have the very fine focus. And 2 turns of this knob here moves the stage 15 thousandths of an inch. So I was going to figure out how many microns that is, the stage moves. So it's really, really nice. Well, there's a planetary gear inside here. It's called a screw gear, Oh, I ran out of time. Just a minute. Let me reset here. Okay, I assume that reset the transmitter. I can hear myself at once there. So anyway, I was able to buy Nikon used a nylon gear. It was the only plastic part in the microscope. And after a period of time, it dries out and it cracks. So when I went to clean the scope, I found that I couldn't turn the fine focus more than one turn. And I knew what was wrong because I got a basket case microscope off of eBay once that had a broken fine focus gear, and I bought a replacement from Nikon and fixed that. Well, Nikon doesn't make it anymore, so I was able to get a totally brass gear from a microscope repair company in Georgia. So today I pressed the old piece out and the new piece on and put it back together. So I was just going to show you this beautiful microscope. It's a compound, binocular compound. And let me get down here and you can see that underneath here. So the substage condenser, and then the light source down below here. And I think that's probably about it from here. I've got another Nikon. I've got a Spencer. I've got a Bosch and Lom. And a couple of other stereo microscopes around. But anyway, I like this stuff. Maybe you can tell. Anyway, back to Dave. This is N7KC in Port Angeles, and I'm in here courtesy of EchoLink. Back to you, Dave. Go ahead.
N7KC via Ron, 87QKU. Pictures were looking great, both on RF and on streaming. See, very good picture transmission. So, moving down, N7QO, Jim.
Thank you, Dave. N7QO. Well, Lee, that looks pretty cool. I used to have a microscope. Haven't seen that in a few years. I was thinking about that a few months ago. Seems like I remembered what I did with it, but now I don't remember what became of that. Maybe it disappeared in a garage sale or something, I don't know. Or maybe it's around here somewhere still. Never did have a very good one, but something. Been meaning to buy something which I can attach to a computer and use as a microscope, but I never got around to that. That just costs more money than I can handle at the moment, but maybe someday. Let's see. Ron, thanks for the Coulon Park video. That was pretty cool. Dave, you were saying, don't climb up on the roof or anything. It's not worth risking getting hurt just to redirect your antenna. I was just curious there. I guess I should have known better. If you're not, if we can't see you, you haven't gotten around to doing it yet. I think the weather's going to go bad in another day or so on us, so probably won't get to it for a while. But maybe you might just as well wait until winter is over. Oh well. Also, question, Dave, next time your turn comes up, a little more on the DRM format. Looks like I need to reset. Stand by. Is that going to be connected to the 08 machine or some other repeater? Is that going to be a new repeater on a different frequency? And do you know if it'll be on the 2-meter band? Just curious about that. KD7ZYM and 7QO.
K9PQ, comment?
K9PQ, go ahead.
Yeah, before everyone got used to saying DRM, it's DMR. Just wanted to make sure everyone knows that. Digital mobile radio. And but that's as much as I know. I think you know more than me about it, Dave, so I'll let you go ahead and fill them in. K9PQ, back to you.
Okay, Bob. Let's see if we can get Gary going again. K7HYB.
I am here. KD7ZYM and the group K7HYB. There's my call line. I still see Jim on the screaming. There we go. Okay. Must be a good path on 440 tonight into the repeater because oftentimes I do not key the train off. I take that back. I imagine Ron's got it turned on hard. Maybe that's why it does that. It just dawned on me. Anyway, Dave, you need to climb up on that roof one time and put up a rotor so you don't have to do that again. That would probably be a little smarter deal than to continue to climb up there. I have the same issue with my 1.2 gig antenna out here. It's up on the roof and it's pointing about 15 degrees up the horizon. That's a little too far to be in the path for the repeater, for the 1.2 gig downlink on the repeater. So in any case, and I won't get up there. Well, I would, but my wife won't let me go up there. She says, "You dumb expletive deleted. Don't go going up there and busting your rear end." So anyway, and I'm marking a good picture on the streaming tonight, and I still haven't got around to getting that streaming deal, the same thing that Bob's using. Although I do plan, let me drop it here. Although it isn't my plan to buy that. I guess I'm waiting for a good buy to come around. Right now, the best way I can find is under $70. I guess that's pretty good, but I wanted to hope somebody would come up with something used, and wanted to get rid of it, and I could pick it up for $40 or $50. That would be a little better. Anyway, so like I said, Dave, I think a good shot for you is to buy yourself a rotor. No more Radio Shacks in the area, but Fly Electronics, I think, has rotors. You could probably buy one down there, and then you wouldn't have to mess with that. All you have to do is turn the rotor and get it lined up. That's what I should have on my 1.2 gig antenna. I've got to figure out how to mount the 440 low and the 1.2 gig high and on the same rotor and point them in the same direction, because they're both going to be interlinked. So anyway, that's enough of my babbling on this go around. Back to you, Dave. KD7ZYM, K7HYB.
K7HYB. Let's move over to Bob, K9PQ.
Okay, let me get the video switched here. Okay, well, I wanted my license plate to be a little more prominent this time, so hopefully that's showing up. Gary, you got a pretty good signal tonight. I'm convinced that it's your trees. Anytime it's wet, if it's raining or has been raining, it seems like that's when your signal goes bad, and I think it's the wet trees that are the problem. I know I had some issues like that at my place in Seattle, and I don't even remember what for. Getting around normal radio in Seattle was no problem. It might have even been It might have been ATV. Yeah, it might have been ATV. Anyway, whatever it was, when the trees were wet, I had some issues. Yeah, so as I mentioned, it was a late day at work today. Jim, just a few things that I do know about the DMR. I don't know any of the details, but it is definitely a different repeater. It's digital, and it is so if you need a radio that works with it, you can buy them, and the repeater does that. And I didn't know about the trunking. That's pretty cool. I think that was Dave mentioned that. As I say, I don't know a lot of the other details, but it will be somewhere in the ham band, I would guess 440, only just because there are not that many 2-meter pairs available, but I don't know that either. Maybe Dave knows. I thought I had something more to say, but I can't think of it right now, so I will send it back. This is K9PQ. Back to you, Dave.
Thanks for that, Bob. Well, it's in the 70 centimeter band, and you need a key to get into it. You have to program these things, and it's best to have a friend that has one so you can kind of get the idea. You have to register the radio. It gets in with a 8-digit or a 9-digit number, and it reads that. However, it won't identify your call sign. You still have to do that. But the repeater won't recognize it unless the unit is entered into the database for the system. It's very similar to Echolink, you might say. You got all these talk groups, and just like you dial up Echolink for different repeaters, this will dial up stations all around the world. And so there's a Northwest group that goes down into Oregon and Washington State and over to Eastern Washington. And it looks like it's pretty good. Prices on these radios, the handheld, both has UHF and VHF on it. And they sell around $220. And they're going to be coming out with a mobile unit probably within the next 3 months, they say, and that one may cost upwards of a whole $300, but you'd have a 20-watt output. So it's quite a presentation to see what goes on, and they do have a web page, and we'll see if I can find that for you. Anyway, that's, as you said, DMR, digital mobile radio. And it's very similar to the radios commercially wise with the trunking system that we had for police and fire here in Seattle. It works on kind of that same principle. And I guess that's about all I got to offer, but I believe the frequency they were talking about that it operates is 435. It's pretty close to our transmitting antenna for ATV, so we'll have to see for sure that it doesn't cause interference. And let's see, that's about all I got to offer there. So let's go up to James, WW7N.
Great comment.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, are you sending a video signal, Dave?
Negative.
Okay, didn't think so. I wasn't seeing anything on the streaming, and every once in a while I get a flash of something on the live, so... Anyway, okay, that's all I needed to know. Carry on, K7H2B.
Okay, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to James, WU7N.
while, because of course DRM was Digital Rights Management. That was a big thing, I think, early 2000s. I guess it's still around, but I haven't heard much out of it, as opposed to DMR, which is a digital mobile radio. But, I also noticed that it is supposed to get wet here. It looks like starting Thursday afternoon, it's supposed to have a 1 in 3 chance of rain, and with that is warming temperatures. I was out on my roof today, and actually the reason I was out on my roof, I was scouting for some antenna locations, and I was also trying to check to see if my gutters were clean. We had a company come through our 35-unit PUD and clean the roof, and some people were saying they only cleaned half the roof or they forgot the gutters, so that wouldn't be of much value. I eked out to my scariest gutter, which is 3 stories down, and looked like they did a fine job on mine. Also found a couple of good places I think I can stick up an outside antenna. When the weather gets a little better, I'll probably do that. So anyway, glad to hear that we're advancing with the state-of-the-art there up on Cougar Mountain. I believe if we're on 437, they're on 435. That would be pretty close, so it would be interesting to look at that and see how close the antennas are. At some point, there's inevitably going to be interference with one with the other, and certainly would want to avoid that. Well, anyway, I see it's 8:38, and with my thermometer reset, I guess I will turn it back over to net control. This is WW7N. Back to you, Dave.
WU7N, James, thanks for that. Let's go on to Ron and Lee, 87 QKU.
I can see Ron's lips moving, but I can't hear him talk. Am I the only one?
Okay, well, I was over on the control frequency. I'm sorry. I said I was trying to record some pictures off a TV with my camcorder here, but I was too late, and I didn't get what I wanted. I did get a little bit of picture, but it's nothing very spectacular, so I won't bother to show it. Well, Lee, those are pretty nice looking. That was a pretty nice looking microscope, I should say. You were saying, I think it was a 1950. Gee, pretty nice. So let's see. I was probably going to go over and help Dave. He didn't call me today, but my friend Kim called me, so I went up there. So we went out a couple of our favorite stores. I didn't buy anything, but he bought a couple of shirts. So anyway, I spent the day with him, and we stopped by Burger King and had a hamburger, and I came on home. It was amazing that going north on 405 about 10:30, the traffic was good. And coming home, I left at 3 to come home, and traffic was good. Better than normal. So, and I usually come home a little bit later, but I came home a little bit early because I wanted to make sure I had decent traffic, so that was good. So anyway. I was going to send K7ITX Richard a text tonight and see if he wanted to join us. Excuse me, and if he knew any more about what was going on in Tacoma with that other TV equipment, but I didn't get around to it. So anyway, let's send it over to Lee and see what else he has to show us. So Lee, if you're ready, here we go.
Okay, there. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. The first thing that comes to mind is that I again forgot to send a notice out yesterday, the heads up for the meeting on the 2nd, which is this coming Saturday. And I guess while Bob's on here, I should ask him if that's okay with you, Bob. I mean, are you set to have a meeting at your place Saturday? And if so, I'll go ahead and send out the notice tonight after the net. I'll get the email out. Let's see. You know, I was just sitting here double-checking my figures. Steel has a temperature coefficient of 7.2 times 10 to the minus 6 inches per inch per degree Fahrenheit. And the number of inches in a mile is 63,360, so for every degree change, that's 0.46 inches. That's almost a half inch per mile per degree. So every 10 degrees is almost 5 inches. So it's not quite 10 inches per mile in a 20 degree Fahrenheit change. Well, you can't get around this. I mean, steel behaves like that, and if you've got welded tracks, which they are in a lot of places, you've got to account for that change in length. So there must be some kind of a deal on the rails where it's a scarf joint, you know, how one lays up against the other so that they can somehow shift and not get thicker. If it's a wedge, you know, then they would get thicker. Although, you know, the specification for rails is kind of interesting. It's very, very carefully specified, the distance apart, the angular slope on each side, and so forth like that. So, my guess, I'm starting to wonder just how to handle that whole problem here. Anyway, enough of that. I don't have anything else to show video-wise. Except I've got a camera that fits all these strokes. It's just dynamite. I will get some of those pictures sometime going. My timer's just run out, so I'm going to say, it's 1:45. I'm going to send it back to that, 7KC. Lee in Port Angeles. I'm in courtesy of Echo Link, and Ron's handling my video. So back to that, Dave. Good.
In 7KC, I got that, and thanks again for Ron, KD7QKU, for putting you on the air. Let's reach down south to Jim, in 7QO.
Thank you, Dave, M7QO. Well, Lee, I didn't check the math, but that sounds like pretty significant expansion and contraction there. As a youth, I walked along rail tracks for many miles. I can't say that I've ever paid real close attention to them. I was always looking at looking at the foliage, looking at the bums, looking at the surrounding countryside. Wish I had paid closer attention to it now. Oh well, interesting how you think of things years later and wish you had done things a bit differently. Oh well. Let's see. Bob, good to hear from you. Good to see you. Thanks for mentioning information about the DMR. And let's see. You were mentioning your video seemed to be best when things are wet. And is that what you said? I don't know. Anyway, I noticed that mine seems to be best when things are wet for some reason. Seems like you may have said just the opposite. Anyway, I don't remember that anymore now, but for reasons which I cannot properly explain, things seem to be better for me when they're a bit wet. I don't know. Back to you, Dave, for now, and 7QO.
In 7QO, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Gary, K7HYB.
KD7ZYM and the group K7HYB. Yes, okay. Glad to be a part of things tonight. And yeah, I think, I don't remember who it was, but somebody made the comment about the fact that the wet foliage has something to do with the signal strength. That's probably very true, even more so on the output frequency rather than the input, although there is some effect there, I'm sure. But I'm still try a little more light here to see if that doesn't produce. This is the wide shot. I don't know whether you can tell anything. You can probably just barely see me in there, more than likely. Not quite enough light in the signal stream because it isn't strong enough. But anyway, when I was doing mobile, I could move. I used to swim around it here. When I was doing mobile and had it set up, I still got my mobile station here. I haven't used it in quite a while, but I used to be able to go over to the church probably about 3/4 of a mile away from me here into this parking lot and set up the short Yagi I have for 1.2 gig and the short Yagi I have for 434, and I could key the repeater with 1 watt as opposed to the fact that I'm running anywhere between 60 and 70 watts here on the output. Of course, I've got a lot more cable. That has a lot to do with it, I'm sure, and a lot more trees, and that seemed to. And I'm going to go back to that again here when the weather gets better, starts getting better. I'll get my mobile station set up and I'll do some running about and take some pictures and stuff and transmit. Anyway, it's getting towards the top of the hour with about 10 minutes left. I think I've had my babble for the night. Good evening to all of you. I will say 73s and listen out. KD7ZYM, welcome back, Dave. K7HYB.
K7HYB, we got a 7-3 for you. And let's do K9PQ, Bob.
Okay, let me switch the transmitter. Okay, well, I made notes, and so I have a lot of comments. First of all, it's a balmy 43.3 degrees here at my place. And yeah, James, I was also thinking of digital rights management, and you don't hear about it anymore. Every so often, you still hear about something called DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which took away pretty much all of our digital copying rights and protected those of the corporations. Gary, that is interesting about you having better propagation in wet weather. And I was mentioning that, I'm sorry, I may have said Gary, I meant Jim. I was mentioning that about Gary. I think I've noticed that when it's wet is when he has trouble, and I think I used to as well with video at my old place when I was transmitting from there. Let me break. I didn't hear a beep. Oh, there's no beep, is there? Let's see. More notes. That is a very cool microscope, Lee. I have a humble but clear microscope. I used to have just a junky one. Well, it wasn't mine. It was our family's. You know, it was the usual thing your parents would buy when they didn't want to spend a lot because they didn't know how much you'd use it, and it didn't work very well. And Ron, I like the silhouette shots of those boats. I thought that was really nice. And as I was writing the notes, I struggled to remember how to spell silhouette. And then I realized, you know, I used to really pride myself on my spelling and on my ability to know where I was and where I was going with just a compass and a map. And both of those skills have sort of fallen by the wayside. Jim, I got a chuckle out of you saying walking the tracks. Let me break again here. And how you felt like maybe you didn't make the right choices, but I think, looking around at the foliage probably was a better choice than looking at the tracks. Just me. Also, it never occurred to me that they were welded. I guess I can see it. Otherwise, it'd be there'd be always the chance of them getting out of alignment. But I don't believe I've ever seen them being welded. It just never occurred to me they were. Okay, well, that is all my notes, I think, and I will say 73 as well. We'll see you all next time around. And yes, the meeting. I forgot to write down about the meeting. Absolutely, meeting is on, and looking forward to hosting. See you all then. K9PQ, back to you, Dave.
K9PQ, we got you 7-3. And this is Dave, KD7CYM. Well, I'm kind of out of things to talk about, and be looking forward to the meeting on Saturday. And we'll see what's happening in our future, so to speak, as projects for this coming summer, anyway. So with that, I'll go back to James, WU7N.
Thank you, and I just wanted to say to Lee, thank you for showing the microscope. I forgot to mention that in my last turn. I find it absolutely amazing that you could find someone to make a brass replacement gear for a plastic gear of a 1950s microscope. My father, our entire family's mad at him. He was a pathologist, and he had a beautiful professional Nikon microscope purchased in the early 1960s. That he continued to use up through the 80s. It was certainly a very good microscope, and he ended up donating that to some medical school before he asked anybody in the family if any of us wanted it. Boy, we were mad at him. And Lee, check my figures here, but if you go from the freezing point of water, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, to zero, and then you go down to 27 degrees below zero, I used your coefficient there, and I came up with, for a mile, it would be 27 inches, roughly 2 feet. And then for a half mile, it would be 12 inches. For a quarter mile, 6 inches. And I did reread the article. It said, what happens is the bolts get torn out when the rails contract that much, and I guess they have to set the rails on fire to heat them up enough so they can re-bolt them down. Kind of interesting. Anyway, 855-73s, everybody. I really enjoyed the conversation tonight. This is James, WU7N, with the Washington Amateur Television Society. Good night, all.
And got a 73 from James, WU7N. And let's go to Ron and Lee, KD7QKU / N7KC.
Okay, this is Ron, KD7QKU. Well, I was just taking some pictures off the TV. Could you see them, Dave?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what they were.
I had my little camcorder here, and I was just pointing it at the TV here in the room. I had the fishing program on. I was going to take some pictures of the program previous to this one. The guy was catching these monstrous fish in this little old beat-up boat. It was pretty spectacular scenery. He must have been up in Canada someplace. But by the time I thought about capturing them on the camcorder and then re-showing them, I didn't get around to it. So anyway, we're just about out of time. So 73s, everybody, and let's go to Mr. Lee. And I guess I'll see everybody on Saturday.
Okay. Lee, N7KC over in Port Angeles. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much for a nice net tonight. DRM, digital radio, Mondale, whatever. I just found out tonight that Mondale means worldwide. That always, I never took the time to look into that, but anyway, it's apparently a popular format. In fact, there was a big conference in India this year about it, and Dave was telling me that I think the protocol is pretty much the same, PRM and DMR or whatever. Anyway, okay, enough of this, and nice note, thank you very much, 73 is all, and we'll see you down the pike, and I'll get that speeding notice emailed out tonight. So with that, back to net control. This is N7KC Lee. I'm in Port Angeles. I'm into the net via Echo Link and video via RON. Good night.
Good night, Lee, and thanks, Ron. 87QKU and N7KC. Winding up the net tonight, Jim, N7QO.
Thank you, Dave. Well, thank you all for participating. Hope to catch you next net. Good night, N7QO.
Thank you, N7QO. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. We'd like to thank the owners and operators of the 08 machine, the CTAC repeater group, for allowing us to have nets on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So for this evening, we're signing off the net at 2058. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Good evening all.